Alright guys, so today I'm going to be doing a review of the anime Inuyashiki. It first aired, I think it was autumn of 2017, so it's about 8 years old now. I only recently watched it. I finished it about a week ago, I'd say. So I've had a little bit of time to think about it, sort of form my opinions on it. I haven't scripted this review because I think it sounds a bit unnatural if you're just sort of reading a script off a screen. I want to just sort of express my thoughts as they come to me. So from the first episode, it's established that the main character is actually an older guy called Inuyashiki. And the first episode sort of just shows what his life is like, and he's sort of quite meek, timid, passive. People aren't very nice to him. And he feels kind of bad because he's gotten to this age of being like 50. I think he's 50 something. And this is what his life's like. It's not quite as glamorous as he thought, which is something I think most people can relate to. Especially if you're anything like me and you kind of struggle with mental health problems. You can tend to feel a little bit hard done by in day-to-day life. So towards the end of the first episode, he's in the park with his dog, and then like an aliens crash land, and they accidentally kill two people, one of which is Inuyashiki. So they reassemble him using the parts they have on their ship, which are really developed weapons and machinery and things like that, and basically turn him into, I suppose, like a cyborg or a robot. So he now gains all these powers. Initially, he doesn't actually realise what's wrong. It does take it a while for it to sink in. I think it could have been handled a little bit better, really. The aliens are just really a plot device. They're not actually relevant to the story. It's okay. It does the job, I think. And I also think perhaps a little bit after showing Inuyashiki sort of struggling with I suppose it would be kind of like a loss of humanity. I think they do show it. They do, but I feel like it could have been done better. The main antagonist of the series was also present in that park, Shishigami Hiro, who is actually a high school student. So there's already this big contrast between age between the protagonist and the antagonist, which is quite unusual for anime usually, because it's usually younger characters. Again, I think Shishigami could have had a lot more development. Whereas in Inuyashiki, when he realises his powers, he just goes around helping people. Like he saves a cat that's been hit by a car, then he goes to the hospital and just saves people with the powers. Whereas Shishigami, on the contrary, just he just starts going around killing families at random. Like he just picks a house, goes in, kills them. Which I don't really get. He didn't really have a motive or reason to do that. The story, well, the anime says he does it essentially because it makes him feel human again. But which the reason's given, but I don't think it's explained very well. And it just kind of feels a bit random. Like I don't understand why he would just go around killing random people. So there's already a divergence between Inuyashiki and Shishigami from the get-go and how they use their powers. From there, I kind of think the first 3 episodes or so are probably the best part of the series. From there on, I think it starts to feel a little bit rushed and things are introduced that aren't always fully explained. I know there's an arc in the middle where Shishigami is with his mum and his mum's got cancer, and then he heals her. Then he gets them an expensive house and things, but eventually he is caught for when he goes killing those random families. And then he sort of goes on the run. I didn't mind that arc. I think it was nice to see a more human side to Shishigami, compared to when he was just ruthlessly going in and killing random people. I think he was okay as an antagonist. I definitely think there could have been a lot more development and more done with him. Inuyashiki, I think he realises that because he sees about Shishigami killing people on the news, so he kind of realises I'm the only one that can do something about this because I also have those powers. But he isn't very adept at them. He ends up teaming up with Shishigami's friend Choco, who's okay. He's not a great character, nothing special, very generic, and they sort of train a little bit. There's not really a lot of focus on the training, but they do a little bit. Shishigami, he just sort of goes on the run. Eventually, he takes shelter with this girl that likes him from the school, who, to be honest, I didn't really like. There is kind of like this romance subplot between them, but I don't think it's particularly good. It just kind of happens, and to be honest, she seems kind of insufferable because she doesn't really seem to see past the fact that he's been killing people, like he's a murderer, and she seems to sort of think he's amazing even then. Which I didn't really like. Eventually, Shishigami gets caught again, so then he goes on a run again, and he ends up sort of just killing people over the internet or through phones, just killing random citizens in Japan, which feels completely random. There's no real explanation for how he does it. Which I even though he has those powers, like he has all the guns and stuff, it doesn't really feel very well explained how he's killing people through screens or over the phone. And there's no real purpose behind it. He's just like, I'm going to kill people because almost. Well, I think it's because the government want him for obviously the murder he already committed at that point. So it's just kind of, it escalates very quickly with him, and there isn't really any reasoning or logical reasoning behind why he's doing these things. It's like he does it because he can do it, almost. Towards this part of the story, Inuyashiki also, there's like this subplot with him and his daughter, and likewise it sort of comes out of nowhere, because she isn't really relevant prior to that point, but from that point on it's sort of explained that she wants to be a manga author and things like that, but it is difficult to care about characters like that when they're introduced quite late into the series. They have very little bearing on the story. Then there are like a few emotional scenes between him and his daughter, which are okay. They're okay. They're nothing special, and they didn't really evoke any feelings from me, because you didn't really get attached to his daughter as a character. I don't even remember her name. I think it might have been Maddie, actually, now I think of it. In the end, Inuyashiki and Shishigami have a confrontation, which is they're just fighting. It's not particularly amazing or anything. The choreography's fine, the animation's fine. And at the same time, an asteroid is headed to Earth. It's going to wipe out all life, which again, it comes out of nowhere. It doesn't really do much for the story, and it feels very poorly explained as a whole. In the end, Inuyashiki wins. He goes home, reconciles with his family, which I think was a nice scene, actually, because they kind of learn his identity as a cyborg robot, but they accept him regardless for who he is, which is, I think that was a nice scene, quite poignant, really. Probably one of the high points of this show for me. And then it kind of sinks in that asteroid's going to hit and just kill everyone anyway. So Inuyashiki, feeling like he should try and do something for it, goes up into space and tries to break apart the asteroid, but he can't because he's not strong enough. And it turns out Shishigami, as well, having survived their fight, but having lost both of his arms, he's also up there, kind of like as a way of atoning for what he's done. And he tells Inuyashiki there is a way to try and move the asteroid off course by pushing their eyes into their skull. It'll sort of trigger an explosion, it'll knock it off course. So Shishigami does that, which is nice. I think atonement is quite nice, but like again, it probably could have been handled better. It doesn't actually get knocked off course as much as he thought, and in the end Inuyashiki has to do it himself, so he dies at the end of the story. It was, as a whole, I think it was okay. I did enjoy it. It is nice to see anime with different characters, unique premises, things like that. Older characters especially, I think, was nice to see. And I quite like it felt very realistic. To compare it with another series, I'd probably compare it to Parasite or Ajin. They're quite similar, about a character gaining some kind of power through some sci-fi means, and then having to sort of deal with that power and the consequences of it. Inuyashiki's only 11 episodes, which I think is probably a little bit too short. I think it could have done with a couple more episodes. I think 24 episodes probably would have been way too long, but I think 13 might have been better, just to flesh things out a little bit more, explain things a little bit more, and just show a little bit more of the dynamics of certain characters, like Inuyashiki and his daughter. Could have been explored a lot more, that relationship, I think. The animation is fine. It's animated by Mappa. It does have some, what's it called? 3D animation, CGI, which I don't mind. I think perhaps it is slightly overused, but it's not jarring. It doesn't really detract from the show as a whole. The opening and ending are fine. Nothing special. The soundtrack is okay. There's nothing memorable from it for me though. As a whole, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 6 out of 10. I did enjoy it for what it's worth, but there were a lot of issues, things that could have been done better. I'd say probably a 6 out of 10 is probably a fairer score for it. Yeah, I think I'd say 6 out of 10 for Inuyashiki. I think I would recommend it to fans of shows like Parasite or Ajin who want something similar to that, but I wouldn't recommend it sort of in a vacuum. Like if you should need to watch this show, it's so good. I probably wouldn't be doing that to anyone. But as a whole, it was okay. I think that's kind of it. It was fairly... I wouldn't say mediocre. I'd say it was better than mediocre, but it wasn't anything amazing or outstanding. And it just could have been a lot better than it was. Anyway, that's going to be it for this review, guys. Thanks for watching.